on this account spent. So we're going to talk about how do you read a Protoss all in like it's a book, an open book. Because for an open book test, you can just read whatever information you need, right? So how do we do it? How do we identify that the Protoss is about to all in the crap out of us? And then what do we do to prepare? Because if you read it and you see it, you respond. And when they get to your side of the map, you rain down such swarmy fury upon their forces that they will never all in you for the next 20 minutes at least. Okay, so this is it. I open hatch first against Protoss because I'm not scared of cannon rush. A quick note, put 2 drones on each probe, 4 drones on each building, and you can probably stop most cannon rushes. So I went hatch gas pool, and we see here the Protoss players going gate nexus cyber. These opening builds aren't really super consequential. Like, the decisions of how you're going to play out the match are still available to you. With Legacy of the Void, you start with 12 workers, so a lot of people will just get into that second base really fast. So I go for a third base here. The opening build isn't really the main idea. The key thing that we're looking at this game is how to read the clues from the Protoss. How can we identify that they're going to all in the crap out of us, right? Because that's the mystery of the ages. How does a bug, such as this bug here, look and see what is and decide what to do? This is the first impactful decision that made me consider something. This is the Twilight Council. What can we say about this investment here? This is Protoss moving into some ground investments. The Twilight Council unlocks charge legs for zealots, blink for stalkers, glaives for adepts. It also unlocks the Templar archives, so they can make High Templar, which are ground caster units, or Dark Shrine. And both Dark Shrine and Templar archives unlock Archons, which are very strong ground units. So we can say that this probably isn't super fast Oracle, and it's going to be ground-based. So what I like to do against someone who's going for Twilight is have a really strong Roach presence on the ground. Roaches are good against Adepts. They're good against charge lots, if you have a lot of them. They're good against DTs. They can do reasonably well against Archons, at least better than Lings can. They're good against High Templar. So I see Twilight, I think Roach. So what am I going to do? I'm continuing to make queens and drone up. I'm just droning as fast as I can this whole time. And then I'm going to take my second gas and a Roach Warren when I have around 2 base mineral. So you see my units? I have like 35 drones. Taking the gas, taking the Roach Warren. A lot of players will cut into their economy by taking their gases too early, and it really hurts the growth of your swarm. So as a general rule, taking the second gas when you have 2 base mineral, and then filling the gas in your main. I pulled off gas and refilled it. It's not super important at most levels of play. But what is this here? The second clue we have, there is an immortal in the wall. Why would someone have an immortal in the wall? Because they're going to do an all-in against you, and they're trying to have a sturdy unit here. This is a very valuable unit, so for them to have this at the front seems like they're cutting some corners to do something fancy. So I have an Overlord here that's going to think about, what do we see? What's going on? I'm curious now, because I know there's no third base. I can see there's an immortal in the wall. I know there's a Twilight, and Twilight games tend to be kind of fighting games in Zerg versus Protoss. So I poke the front wall. I'm just kind of running around. What are you doing? What are you doing, Protoss? Gonna show us what you're doing. So this is the scout of the game. This is a decision that a lot of people feel hesitant about sometimes. Whoa, what if I send an Overlord in? It could get shot. Overlords love to look at stuff. And I'm of the persuasion that an Overlord would rather float into a base and scout, what is this, 6 gateways in a robo, than to just sit idly and do nothing over here next to some shitty rocks and ferns and stuff, right? This is the most exciting Overlord experience in the game, where the Overlord scouts a huge decision that tells you exactly what the opponent is doing. So what can we say here? This is a huge mineral expenditure. You have to buy all these gateways. They don't come for free. So this is a Protoss who's saying, I have no intention of ever taking a third base against you. I want to have tons of gateways and make tons of Twilight units, probably Adepts or Zealots, and then I'm going to all-in the crap out of you and hope that you overdroned. So this Overlord, I named my Overlords. This is Francisco. But Francisco flies in and they see the gateways. And it's like, alright, I see what's up. And then I still want to keep looking at this Overlord. Let's go to my vision. I'm looking at the Overlord, and I look at the gases really quick. And what do we see? You can click the enemy's gases and see how much is remaining. How much gas starts in these extractors? 2250. So if we see here, this is 1934. They have not been mining very much gas at all. And you can even see there's only one probe in each of these geysers. So now I can say, all right, this is not High Templar. This is not DTs. This is not very many sentries. This is probably either Adepts or Zealots. It's probably Zealots, because Adepts cost 25 gas each. So how much do you drone? If you see Protoss, they have no gases. They pulled off gas in the main. Usually it's going to be around this, 32 probes. So having about 10 more. 10 more workers, a base up, and then just slamming out units. Do I need a lair? No, I do not need a lair, because I know there are not going to be any DTs. So what I want to make is tons of roaches, tons of lings, and a few ravagers for some splash. If I have minerals, I want to make queens. So I have, what, 5 queens, 7 roaches, 9 lings, and then my production is going to be queen, ravager, zergling. So I'm making 2 ravagers, 22 zerglings, and a queen. And then, lo and behold, the Warp Prism Zealot Immortal attack. It arrives at the base. With my Ling Roach Ravager, I just attack move. I know that I droned the correct amount. I'm confident that my stuff can trade at least reasonably well. And my micro is focused on the queens. So I have my 4 queens on a hotkey, and they're just focusing the prism. That's all I'm focusing on during this fight. My army attack moves, my queens focus the prism. Why did they focus the prism? Because this is the source of the Protoss stuff. If I remove this, then they have to walk their happy ass across the map, as opposed to getting to use their warp gate technology and teleport from this prism. So I kill this and I snap all the momentum of the attack. So that's what my focus is during this. Roaches and Ravagers and Lings, they can take care of themselves. These queens are the big impact units. So since they're falling back, I'm just going to spill forward now, because I made a ton of units, and if you made a ton of units, you might as well go do something with them. There are only 2 immortals here. The queens can handle that, so I'm just going to go attack now. Because if I have 43 workers and I make army nonstop, and the opponent has 32 workers and they make army nonstop, I'm going to be making more army over time, so they should lose. It's kind of a simple numbers game, where this is less about what units I decided to make and what units they decided to make, and it's more about the relationship in the economy here and when the players decide to make a bunch of army. This could be Ling Bane. Instead of going for a Roach Warren, I could have gone for a Baneling Nest, and the end result would have been about the same if I spent my production into army at the same time. So this could be kind of an icky spot. If you're going to attack them and they backstab you, I'm using my queens on a hotkey, and then I also added my new units that I was building from the eggs to my queen group. So my queen group was 4 queens for defending the prism, but now it has some lings and it has some roaches. Like these 4 roaches are all being rallied with the queen group to deal with these zealots. So I'm defending, and then these units I just A-move. I'm not microing these a whole bunch. A lot of people kind of stare at their army more than is necessary. If your army is already kicking ass, just let them do their thing. Lings will bite stuff. If there's Protoss stuff around, they will bite it. Roaches will shoot it, Ravagers will shoot it. So focusing on protecting your base here and making sure you remain stable at home. So I'm defending with my queens, transfusing, attack moving, and then that's basically it. So even though I scouted it, it did end up being kind of messy, and that's just part of StarCraft. if they're attacking you and they're investing really hard to put units on your side of the map, it's okay to be a little bit off balance, to have to pull your drones, to split your stuff into multiple groups, and to embrace the chaos of a wonderful ZVP 2-base all-in ladder game. Are there any questions about that